I'm in my flop era right now. Ooh, she's flopping. But from conversations that I've had this week, it seems like a lot of people feel this way. I asked my friends, like, does anyone else feel this way? Can one of you tell me that this is like a cosmic thing? Like, there's something in the stars that is like, we're all flopping. Life is in her flop era, and that doesn't mean you're in your flop era. It's just like a universal flop that's happening. And I don't even mean it in the sense of like things are bad. Like, oh, I'm flopping and things are horrible. I mean it in the sense of like, things are mediocre right now. You know, like usually the term flop era is used to talk about pop stars when they're in an era of their career that just is not hitting the way that other eras of their career did. So it's not like things are bad for that pop star, right? You know, like they're still making money, they're still creating things. They're still doing the damn thing, and that in itself is a feat. Being creative at all is a feat, is an accomplishment, you know? And it's unreasonable to expect ourselves to be constantly innovating and changing what we're doing and being creative in a way that feels profound. Sometimes creating is just, I don't know, making a dumb little painting. Do I look like I know how to paint? No, but I know it's good for my brain to just do things. Make something, because sometimes it's not about making the best thing, it's just about making a thing. But sometimes when you're focused on just making a thing for too long, it can start to feel like, well, this is boring and purposeless. Like, I want to find inspiration again. I want to have a big burst of something. I want to feel the way that I have felt in the past, but I just don't have that thing right now. And that's why I feel like it's not entirely my fault that I'm in my flop era, or that any of us are ever in our flop eras. Is this a motivational video? But before I explain why I'm in my flop era, let me introduce today's sponsor, which is our friends over at Favor. Favor provides digital care, prescriptions, and products for your well-being, all delivered straight to your door every month for free. Whether you're thinking of switching the birth control you're on or trying birth control for the first time, Favor is going to be the perfect spot for you to test things out with a licensed medical team to support you along the way. I am a very big supporter of birth control, and going on birth control has been a very important decision for me and my own reproductive health. I personally have tried a bunch of different types of birth control to find the one that was going to be the best fit for me, and for the last few years of my life I have been on the pill and I have been absolutely loving it. Favor carries over 120 different FDA approved brands, so you'll be able to test out different types of the pill and see which works best for you and your body. They ship to all 50 states, and most brands of birth control are completely free with insurance or Medicaid, and if you don't have either of those, they start as low as $6.99 a month. You can sign up for birth control in literally under 5 minutes, and their licensed medical team is always going to be one text away to help you make sure that this birth control is right for you and answer any other questions that you have along the way. And right now, when you go to heyfavor.com/partylikeMaddie, Favor is offering a $10 donation to bedsider.org for every one of you that becomes a patient. Your donation will help low-income individuals gain access to birth control through bedsider.org. So again, that's heyfavor.com/partylikeMaddie. Thank you again to Favor for sponsoring today's video. It just feels like, yes, I kind of feel like I'm flopping right now because I feel like I'm basically in a creative block and I don't feel particularly inspired by anything right now. I don't feel like particularly wowed by anything I've consumed lately. I feel kind of bored by the internet as a whole right now. My dating life is boring. Everyone that I've met is boring. Sorry. But it just feels like everything is like, it's not bad, but it's not good either. It's just like, eh. And so I asked my friends, like, are you also in your flop era? One of my friends said, it's just one flop, not a flop era, but same. Then another one of my friends said, Yes, I'm having a frequency flop right now where I just feel like my vibrational frequency levels are a little lower than normal, but I'm trying to reframe it mentally as a hibernation before a big burst of energy, which I love. That's a great reframe. Someone else said, it's okay, Earth is in retrograde, let's all flop. And then I got a bunch of my friends that were like, I also feel this way, I am flop, everything around me is flop. 1000% yes, totally agree. Me. Like everyone was like, yeah, I also feel this way. Not that things are bad, but just that everything feels kind of boring and uninspiring and flop. How else can you put it? Like that really is just such a good word. But it's got me thinking because I don't think that I have really felt like I was in a creative block like this in a few years. I think the last time in recent memory that I can recall going through what felt like a creative block was like in 2019, right after I graduated college. I'd spent so much time on my senior thesis and, you know, had just been focused on finishing college for a while. And by the time I got out, I was focusing on my, you know, first full-time job post-grad and trying to balance like being a 9-to-5 girl while also, I don't know, trying to like be a human and like do things I enjoyed and make YouTube videos. And yeah, I remember at the time just feeling like, what do I have to give? Like I don't feel like I have anything worth saying right now. Which wasn't true. I did have things that were worth saying. I just wasn't inspired in a way that could make those thoughts and things worth saying form in coherent things to then share with other people. And I don't feel that way now. That creative block feels different than this creative block, and maybe that can just be attributed to like growth as a person, because that creative block felt like, it's over, babes. That was like a colossal flop. And at the time I was seeing someone who, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but I would talk all the time about how I had no ideas for YouTube videos and I just had no idea what to make. And it was so upsetting to me because this is my favorite thing in the entire world and I felt like I didn't even know how to do it anymore. And that was hard. That was like really difficult. I don't feel that way now, thank God. Different kind of flop. There's genres of flop happening. But I was seeing someone at the time who I would try to talk to him about it because he was also a creative and, you know, he did film stuff more highbrow than YouTube. But he would always encourage me to just stop making videos. He was like, it's a sign, you should just quit. I don't know why the fuck any creative person would say that to another creative person who's like, I'm in a creative block, and they're like, well, quit. Who the fuck? Like, that's like the worst advice. He was preying on my downfall for sure. So I'm glad that I know now that like highs and lows are a part of being creative and a part of life in general. And sometimes life is boring and we all just have to sit here and be like, nothing's happening, is it? We're all just sitting here looking at each other like, what now? I'm so bad at painting. Like, this has no direction. I was like, rainbows and let's play with textures, and I just, stop. What are you doing? This is for fun. It doesn't matter if it's good. This is a problem. Sometimes it's good to flop. Shut up. It's okay to be bad at things. Knock it off. Be bad. Complete your bad painting. Holy shit. That's the thing. Why do we have to be good at everything? Why do we have to be always making something that's profound and valuable? I would like to just be bad at things. But going back to what one of my friends said about feeling like this era of like feeling kind of uninspired or bored or, you know, like things are just not hitting the way they need to hit. Feeling like you're in that era and then using that as an opportunity to reframe it as like, this is my hibernation period, my recharge period before I have a big burst of creative energy and I do something wonderful and great. Like, yeah, that is what it is. You can't expect yourself to be creative all the time, to be always doing something profound all the time. But I think the reverse is also true in that you can be doing really cool things and still feel uninspired. And that kind of feels like where I'm at right now. Because I know that if I sit here and say, I feel like I'm in my flop era, people are gonna be like, What are you talking about? Oh, don't say that. Like, you just launched your podcast, you traveled to Paris by yourself this year. So many amazing things have been happening. Like, you've undergone so much personal growth and creative growth this year, and all of that is true. But I still feel like a flop. Sorry, I do. So I think the reframe of like, this is just a hibernation period before something big feels good. Because yeah, as a creative person, as someone who creates for a hobby or for a living, you need to take breaks from doing that thing to recharge. Or not even take breaks, because I'm not taking a break. But you have to lower your expectations for yourself, I guess. You have to stop telling yourself that you have to make the most profound thing every time you make something. Like that forcing yourself to think that everything you make has to be profound is how people just throw their hands up and say, fuck it, I'm not doing anything. That is why so many people are afraid to create, because we have these standards for ourselves where we feel like we have to be killing it all the fucking time. And if we make something that's not the best thing we've ever made, that doesn't top the last thing we made, like, what's the point of making it? But that's not true, and that's not a good way of thinking. The act of creating is always going to be a good thing, you know? It's always gonna feel like a release. Doesn't matter if you top the last thing you did or if it's not the most profound thing ever. Like, it doesn't have to be. But also, that's how I feel too. Like, it's like, I get it. I get that it's wrong and that we shouldn't think about creating this way, but I can't help that I still do sometimes. Towards myself, at least. And you know what? Everyone said that Art Pop was a flop when it first came out, but we all know that that was wrong. So maybe another reframe is that I'm just in my Art Pop era, right? It's like I feel close to finding something that lights me up right now, but it's like, I don't know, I see glimpses of it sometimes and then I lose it. It's like when you wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and then you're like, oh my God, that's fucking incredible. And then you fall back asleep thinking that you're gonna remember it, and in the morning you're like, what the fuck was what was that? What was the idea? And you just feel like this like greatness is on the tip of your tongue perpetually, because you'll never figure out what the fuck you thought of at 2 a.m. when you were in a half asleep, half awake slumber. And was it even that profound? Or did you just think it was when you were in that state? Oh my God, there's a hair in my painting. Is it the brush? Is it me? Is it mango? The world may never know. Now this painting is just, I'm messing it all up trying to get this hair out of it. Oh my God, that's the theme of the painting. This painting is inspired by me trying to get a hair out of it. Thanks. I think we all hold ourselves to too high a standard when it comes to making things. Because here's the thing also, I consume so much content from other people, and I love watching people do anything. Like, if I like watching someone, if I like the content they make, I could watch them do fucking anything and think that it was cool, you know? Because I think you're cool. I think your brain is cool. So I think anything that your brain makes is cool. Whether or not it is the most profound thing you've ever made, it's actually something like that doesn't even cross my mind. It doesn't even necessarily cross my radar when I'm thinking of the creators that I really admire and look up to. I just like seeing what their brain comes up with. You know, it's not a matter of like, this is good or bad. It's just like, I like your brain. As a great man once said, Matthew Murphy, the one and the only, I like the way your brain works. And I think sometimes, like with other creative people, I'm able to just be like, I like your brain, I like your mind. I would like anything that you make, because I'm just fascinated by all the things that make up you, that make you you. So even something that feels like, oh, what is the point in doing this? Why did I make this? I'm not totally inspired by this. Like, I still love those parts of the creative people I look up to, because that is still an important part of who you are creatively and as a person. Not everything can be exciting all the time. The mundane is just as beautiful, if not more beautiful, a lot of the time. And I get that, and I see that in other people. But yeah, I think it's easier to be harder on ourselves and to think that you always have to be doing like the next best thing. And not acknowledging that, like, the same way that I sit here and look at other people and I'm like, I just like your fucking brain, dude. Other people look at me and think that too, so I can chill the fuck out. We need to be giving ourselves a lot more grace than we do. I know that I need to be giving myself a lot more grace than I currently do. Like, bitch, you've done a lot this year. You've done a fucking lot. Let yourself enjoy being a little bit bored. So I guess the moral of the story here is that we all go through phases where we feel super inspired. We feel like we're making something super profound, and maybe we go through other phases where we feel like we're like cruising and things are going well and we're inspired in a way that feels sustainable, and it's not like one big burst but just like a sustained creative energy. And then we go through periods of time where we're just like a little bored, where we're not totally inspired, we don't really know what we're gonna do next, and sometimes that can make you feel a little bit restless, especially because we have all of these like preconceived ideas of what we need to be doing and what level of output you need to be generating as a creative person. But at the end of the day, this is something that every creative person feels, and you need to be bored. You need to take breaks. You need to hibernate in order to totally come to life. So anyways, here's my painting. It actually looks better on camera because I'm standing so far away than it does right up next to my face. It's an abstractor. 400 bucks on Depop, I'm kidding. If you also feel like you're in your flop era right now and things feel boring and uninspiring and you're waiting for life to just sort of spice back up again, I'm right there with you. And so are a lot of other people, according to my group of friends that I surveyed. And this is your reminder not to only save your creativity and exercising that part of your brain for when you feel like you can make something profound. Because in all honesty, I think the most important part about being a creative person is allowing yourself to exercise your creativity in ways that are pointless and meaningless and serve no purpose, and honestly allowing your creativity to just be a little bit fucking bad. Don't force yourself to only create when you feel like it's amazing and incredible. Create all the time, forever, always, and enjoy the times in life where you get to create and the stakes are so fucking low because everything is so fucking boring. There's something great in that somewhere. Find it. I'm still looking for it. Inspiration's a coming. I can feel it. It's right on the horizon. Life is gonna get so good soon. It's gonna be so good, and we're gonna have so much inspiration that we're not even gonna know what to fucking do with it. So enjoy your hibernation period. I will be enjoying mine. I have a few more canvases that I'm gonna paint, and I'll make Mango a little art gallery. Mango, you wanna come see your painting? What do you think? Good stuff? Would you put it in your art gallery? I made you painting. Hey, you're not even looking at it. Look at it. I love you guys so much. If you haven't seen my podcast yet, be sure to check it out. It's always gonna be linked in the description down below. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.